Welcome to Moms of the Lou podcast, hosted by and recorded for St. Louis moms. Grab your laundry basket, kick your feet up for nap time, or head out the door for pickup and spend a little time catching up with your favorite St. Louis moms. Hosted by a fellow St. Louis mom, Rebecca Coast, let's dive into our discussion today. This episode of Moms of the Lou is brought to you by our partner, Foss Swim School. All right, St. Louis moms, we're back for another episode of Moms of the Lou. I'm so excited about our guest today. I am sure you will likely recognize her. We are joined by one of the region's probably most well-known providers in medical aesthetics. So welcome, Racquel Frisella.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
I'm excited to chat with you about all the things. I've got lots of questions. You've had a lot going on this year, so excited to talk about that. But first, tell us a little bit about you, your family, and how it all got started.
Yes. My name is Racquel Frisella. I am a Board Certified Nurse Practitioner. And as you mentioned, I've been specializing in aesthetic medicine for about 16 years now. It's starting to make me feel a little old saying that. But I absolutely love what I do. It is my passion. I love helping people feel beautiful, build confidence, step out into the world feeling like the best version of themselves. So it's been a true blessing starting both Racquel Aesthetics and then also RFA medical grade skincare over the last several years. And then in addition to my professional career, I'm also a wife to my husband, Sal, and who's also a local entrepreneur in the sports supplement industry.
Awesome.
And then we have 3 beautiful babies. They're still, even though they're 7 and 8, I still call them my babies.
They'll always be your babies.
Always be. Yeah. My daughters, Francesca and Isabella, are identical twin girls who are 7. And then my son, Enzo, is 8. We had Irish triplets. Fun fact.
Wow. What was that first? What were those first 2 years like?
A blackout moment.
You don't remember any of it.
It was chaos, beautiful chaos.
Beautiful chaos.
Yes, it was organized, beautiful chaos all the time. And honestly, some of it is hard to remember because you're just in that survival mode and that baby bubble. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. It's been such a blessing, and I love being a mom. It's probably the greatest hat of all the hats that I wear.
Absolutely. So when you're not working and you're with your kiddos, where do you like to go with them? Do you have any fun spots?
Well, now that it's summer, I'm super excited. This is like our season to thrive. We're having a very low-key summer.
Oh,
so
good.
My girls are doing just a couple camps, and they're in gymnastics. So that goes through the summer. And then my son, same, just a couple camps. But we're just going to have a good old-fashioned summer. We love to just get out and explore St. Louis. We, do the staples, the zoo, Grant's Farm, we make our little tour. And then now that they're at the ages 7 and 8, they have a lot of fun just being at home. We swim, we play outside. So just we love to be outside all summer long and just honestly have fun together. My girls love to craft and cook and, all the old fashioned stuff. So that's kind of our theme this summer.
Yeah. So they like to hang out. They're at that age where they like to hang out together, right?
Yeah. And it's really fun to hang out with them at this age because kind of like we were talking about earlier, they're so independent now and we can do all these fun things and it's not super crazy or hard. We're not packing all these bags, so I'm really loving this age. I don't want them to grow. I get sad I'm like, oh, my babies are growing.
I know. I feel that way too about mine. So, so you and your husband are busy work schedules. So when you get a chance to steal away for a date night or a staycation, where are some places that you like to go together?
I was just setting that up this morning with my babysitter. I try to, because you know how it is. If you don't schedule it, it won't happen. So that's one of my little hacks that I do because Sal and I both are very careful about prioritizing our marriage because that's really the foundation of our household.
Yes.
And so we know when our marriage and our foundation is strong, that serves the kids, it serves us, it serves our work, everything we do. So we're big on that. And I schedule my sitter. I try to aim for a weekly or at least a bi-weekly date night, whether that sometimes it'll be during the week, usually it'll be a Friday or Saturday night if we can get it in there. But we'll just, we change it up a little bit. We'll go to sometimes a nice dinner, sometimes a super low-key hole-in-the-wall where athleisure clothes, dinner, or we'll go see a movie, or sometimes we'll go on a hike, just kind of whatever we're feeling that week, but just mostly just to get a little alone time together because if we don't have that intentional time, you know how it is, we're just passing each other by and we can't finish a sentence or a conversation. Yeah. So we like to try to stay connected by doing that.
Yeah, it's so important. Have you been to any restaurants recently that you loved?
We're such little creatures of habit. We do the same places over and over. But I want to be a little bit better of a foodie and explore. But our favorites right now are we love Louis, Wright's Tavern.
Yeah.
We love Annie Gunn's.
Oh, I just went to Annie Gunn's a couple weeks ago for the first time.
It's one of our favorite places.
Oh, that steak. It was like a spiritual experience. Let me tell you, that was out of this world.
Their food is incredible.
It's incredible. Yeah.
And it's very low key. You can be super casual. You can just pop up there. If you don't have a reservation, you can find a seat at the bar. It's perfect.
I would say you're a foodie if those are your top places to go.
Okay.
I think those are all solid. So, that's awesome. Okay, so you talked about hacks, planning things, getting them on the calendar. You've got a babysitter. Any other hacks that you use to kind of help you guys navigate busy work life with 3 kids?
Yeah, it just mostly being intentional with planning ahead really helps me because I have to stay organized in order to make sure that I manage the busy schedule of running a business, being a wife. My kids are involved in way too many activities and I keep signing them up for more things because we have so much fun. So I try to plan ahead and I start with my kids' calendar, whether it's their academic calendar or their sports calendars, and then I kind of plan around that. So I try to not miss anything I don't have to. It's not perfect. Sometimes work gets in the way and I can't make everything, but I try to start there and then build my schedule around there so that I can be at their events and then work my work schedule around that, plan date nights around that, and just kind of, look ahead. I have my little sitters that I kind of go to and keep them on file and just constantly working like a month ahead at a time and just scheduling things out so that we can fit it all in because it is a little chaotic. But it's good. A good schedule keeps us all happy and thriving.
Yeah, totally. I think planning is a huge part of motherhood and family life is just, having it on the calendar. And
yes. And on the other hand, I also have to remind myself to take things day by day because it's like on a grand scale you can plan, but I sometimes find myself, if I'm looking at the calendar and it's really jam-packed, I start getting super overwhelmed and stressed out with all the things that are on our plate these days because our kids do a lot.
Yeah.
And we do a lot. So I'm like, okay, just take it day by day. Yeah. Let's focus on tomorrow. What are we going to do tomorrow?
Absolutely.
How are we going to get through this day? Yeah. And then, move on to the next day. And that helps me a lot when I'm feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So I want to talk about your business, Racquel Aesthetics. How did you get started? You said 16 years. You have built an incredible business, an incredible brand. You have a massive team of wonderful, wonderful women. So tell us about it. How did it get started?
So I always knew, even from when I was a little girl, that I would be in the medical field. I've just always had such an interest in that and love helping people, love taking care of people. But I've also had a natural interest in the beauty industry. I was always that friend growing up that I was like, line up in the bathroom. I'm going to do everyone's hair and makeup before we go out. Yeah. So when I learned about aesthetic medicine back in 2008, it was so intriguing to me because it was the perfect blend of beauty and science and medicine. And back then, the industry was still in its infancy, which in many ways today, it still is. But I was so curious. So I started working part-time in a medical spa and just kind of dipping my toes in the water, seeing what it was all about. Simultaneously, I had just become a nurse. I was working in the NICU as a neonatal nurse. And I loved this field. So I started getting more experience, kind of learning more about it. And then from there, I just jumped full force, went full time into it. It was a little scary back then because, everything back then was very taboo. A lot of people didn't talk about these treatments and talk about these things. And I even wondered, can I make a career out of this? Like, how's this going to work? But I did. I jumped in and never looked back. And as this industry has continued to evolve, it's been really fun to kind of stay on the forefront and grow with it. And it's just come so far over the last 16 plus years and it's still growing. And the treatments that we offer, everything is always changing and evolving. And what I've loved most is a lot of people might think of aesthetics as superficial vanity, oh, that's
fake.
Yeah. But it's so much deeper than that. And I've connected with so many amazing women, amazing people over the last decade plus who have become like family to me. I've known these people I've watched them go through marriage and children or, all these different kinds of life things. And it's been so fun to be a part of their journey and to help support them by feeling amazing. And so when you really peel it back, it's about helping people feel like the best version of themselves.
Yeah.
And so especially on this topic of busy moms, it's like I love to help try to remind people it's okay to take care of yourself. It's just like working out, you know, doing things that help you feel good so that you can step into the world and be the best version of yourself. Because I know for me, when I'm taken care of and I'm feeling good about myself, then I can best take care of all of those around me, my kids, my husband, my patients. When I'm a hot mess, I'm not in the right mindset to take care of anybody. So I just love what I do, and I love helping people age gracefully, feel good about themselves, and just step into the world with confidence.
Yeah. So we'll talk about your skincare line in a minute. But so, I mean, I think when we think of aesthetics, obviously people think Botox, filler, you know. But beyond that, what are some things that you're offering? Because I know you offer so much more than injectables. So, yeah.
Yes, that's a great question. And there really is something for everybody, no matter what stage in your aesthetic or skin journey that you're in.
Yeah.
Whether it's you're just getting started, maybe you're 25 years old and you're not ready to do injectables or something like that. It's starting with some really good skincare. A clinical medical grade skincare that you can use from home can totally transform your skin.
Yeah.
And you don't need a ton of products. Just a few good things can really make some big changes in your skin from home.
Yeah.
Then you get into in-office treatments, and there's everything from starting with just good facials, chemical peels. We have microneedling. We have lasers for every skin type and concern. And then you do have your injectables. There's fillers. There's Botox. There's Sculptra. There's regenerative options. That's really big in 2025.
What is that?
Regenerative options are going to be things that are creating your body's own ability to produce collagen. So Sculptra is different than a filler. It's not like a gel that you inject. It's more of a medicine that tells your body, make collagen. So it's your own collagen that volumizes and things like that. So we have a lot of regenerative options now for a more natural approach. So there's really is something for everyone. It just kind of comes down to what are your goals and concerns? Is it a specific issue like rosacea? Do you have pigmentation or melasma from pregnancy? Is it acne scarring? Kind of what are your goals? What are you looking to change or improve? And then we can help guide you to, okay, this skincare, this treatment will be good for you. But it's definitely not all Botox or, it could just be a really good laser treatment that's going to help get rid of any of your reds or broken vessels or, whatever that one thing is that might bother you. We can help you kind of find a solution for that.
So your skincare line, what are some of your favorite products? Now, I'll back up by saying I love your skincare line so much. I use it. And I would say that I personally was always like a drugstore product user and think that's great. Everyone has different priorities, different budgets. I think there's so many products that are available on the market that are great. I think I've seen a huge change in my skin using, medical grade skincare. And like you say, those changes that you just see at home, and I haven't needed to use a lot of things, maybe one or two products that, have just made a world of difference. So what are some of your favorite products that you like?
Yeah. And when I designed RFA skincare, the goal in mind was to be truly transformational. So, it's confusing. There's so many products out there. People are like, what do I use? And so I wanted to create a portfolio where there is truly a product for everyone. So no matter what you're dealing with, if you have acne, if you just want anti-aging, if you're pregnant, nursing, whatever it is, we have products that will solve for your specific concerns.
Yeah. And now let's have a word from our episode sponsor, Foss Swim School. At Foss, swim lessons are more than strokes and kicks. They're about building water safety, confidence, and love of water that lasts a lifetime. Whether your kiddo is just getting started or looking to level up their skills, Foss Swim School meets them where they are and makes learning fun. With flexible scheduling and makeup lessons now available, it's easier than ever to fit swim lessons into your family's routine. Find the class that fits your family or schedule your free preview lesson today at fossswimschool.com.
So some of our top products are our exfoliating pads, like our Koji Clear pads.
Yes.
They were just featured in Vogue and Cosmopolitans. That was
wow.
really exciting.
Wait, so do Koji pads exist elsewhere or are they
The Koji Clear pads
Yeah.
that we have are our patent pending technology.
Wow.
So we, along with the team of amazing chemists and scientists, developed this proprietary blend. We use resorcinol, which is a really amazing brightener, and they're designed to help even your skin tone and your complexion. So that's kind of my holy grail product. I used to have really bad melasma after Enzo was born, and I was so self-conscious about it. It was the first time I had really struggled with my own skin. It was a very humbling experience being in aesthetics because I could really empathize with what my patients were going through. And I had such bad melasma. It looked like I had like chunks of dirt on my face. And working in the industry was even worse because I'm like, I have to go to work looking like this. People are going to think this girl can't even take care of her own skin. How should I trust her? So that was kind of my mission to really hone in on pigmentation lightening products and how to help reverse that damage. So that was kind of how our Koji Clear formula was born. But we have a little something for everybody. And to your point, I tell everyone there are some great drugstore products. So if you, depending on what your goals are, your budget, you could totally use a very gentle cleanser and moisturizer from the drugstore and then maybe just splurge on your retinol or your Koji Clear pads, and that can be the workhorse in your routine.
Yep.
And so we try to meet everyone where they're at. And we have developed a really cool AI skin tool that's on our website. So if you're not sure what you need, you can use this skin tool. It's like a little quiz format, and it'll ask you a lot of questions. And then it uses the same logic that I use in practice, and it'll pull products for you. And so it'll customize a little routine for you, and it'll give you the options in a good, better, and best format. So you can see, okay, these are the bare necessities. This is a little bit more beefed up. And then here's the whole kit and caboodle for, somebody who wants that 10-step routine, So it's great just to get started with a couple of good products and really start seeing that change. And then you can build from there.
Awesome. So what would you say for like your practice and the patient, what do you call them? Patients, clients?
Yeah, patients.
The patients that come, what is the age range, would you say, of the majority of your patients at this point? If you can even say that,
I would say it's pretty similar to what you had mentioned. Your demographic, we're really like the 35 to 65-year-old female.
Okay.
And of course, there's outliers. I have some cuties that are in their 20s, just ready to get started with some preventative maintenance, which is great. It's just great habits to form. We even have, offerings for teens who are maybe struggling with acne, or, because that can really take a hit to the self-confidence. So, and then I have some cuties in their 80s that come in and like get their treatments. They are just the cute. I'm like, you're my inspiration. I'm going to be just like you when you're 80. They look great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that 35 to 65-year-old female who just wants to feel great.
Yeah.
And one of the additions in our practice this last year was our wellness program.
Yeah.
And so now we are able to really complete that circle of care to not only just outer beauty and aesthetics, but we can focus on inner health too. And it's been really exciting because this helps us get to the root cause of things for many people. So sometimes these skin conditions, if it's an inflammatory skin issue, if it's acne, these things stem from the gut and they are systemic. So this allows us to get to those root causes and really help people dive in and find a true cure for whatever they're going through. And then it's also just a great longevity program. So this is functional medicine, and it's for anybody who wants to just live their longest, healthiest life and feel great, not just good every day.
Yeah.
So we're focusing on longevity, gut and thyroid optimization, weight management, hormone replacement therapy, advanced peptides, kind of whatever you're dealing with. So just like with skin, if you're like, hey, I have brain fog, low libido, I'm waking up tired every day, we can take a look and see what's going on with your health and areas that could be optimized.
Yeah. So, so you mentioned aging gracefully, and you talked about, people who come in with like concerns, things like that. And I feel like it's probably not an over-exaggeration to say that nobody really wants to age, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe we do. I think that obviously, like, being alive is a gift. Every day we've been given, every year, but it does seem kind of globally like some of the messaging from our culture is that like getting older is scary and we don't want to do it and forever young and things like that. And so I'm wondering, how have you your approach to aging, how have you incorporated that into the work that you do? Meaning, there is kind of this natural progression as we get older, that our faces change and our bodies change, And so how do you take that into your practice to say, well, we're not trying to maybe erase the fact that we're aging, right? That maybe somebody who's 80, our goal isn't to make them look 20, right? Do you see what I'm saying? Like,
Absolutely.
how have you kind of incorporated that mindset into the work that you do?
I love that question because it's something I'm really passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
And in our practice, we truly specialize on natural, beautiful results.
Mm-hmm.
So the goal is not to change what you look like or who you are, be a
Mm-hmm.
different person. It's truly just to soften things up a bit and
Mm-hmm.
help you feel when you look in the mirror, you want to see what you're feeling inside. And
Mm-hmm.
so I know for myself, just, over the last few years, like approaching 40, like things change and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, wow, what is this? I never had this before. And you're like, I still feel like I'm 25, but I'm not,
Right.
it's
Yes.
not matching anymore.
Exactly.
And so some of these treatments, whether it's inner or outer health, are just going to help you feel, take a few years back,
Mm-hmm.
so where it's like, you feel confident, you feel comfortable in your skin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's our goal, is to help you achieve that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people, sometimes there's stigma around aesthetics because they're like, I don't want to look crazy or look different. And I think that if you see that, it's not done appropriately,
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the good thing trending in aesthetics is people are finally understanding that now,
Yeah.
that the goal of aesthetics is not to have an ice rink forehead or crazy huge lips. It should just be to replace volume that you've maybe lost. So if you look in the mirror one day and you have these deep sunken under eyes that are making you feel tired, and you have people coming up to you every day saying, are you tired? And makes you feel bad about yourself, that there's a solution for that. And we can, fill that in a little bit, give you that instant bright eye look. And you're like, wow, I feel so much better. I look younger, brighter. And those are just the things that help people step out and they feel more confident and comfortable, showing up to work, showing up at events, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's really just a personalized journey for everyone, and whether that's just a little bit of maintenance or just building that routine in of self-care. I think, it's just about understanding each individual patient, what their goals are, what their concerns are. And then our job is to present the options in a very natural, beautiful way.
Yeah.
Just be there for the journey. We really look at the lifetime, value of our patients. Like, we're not here to just sell you a bunch of things that you don't need. We want to take a very slow, natural approach because we know you're going to want to do these things for a long time. The way I treat myself, like, I want to look just like me. I want to be completely natural, and just enhance my natural features, your natural beauty,
Yeah. And when Racquel is 65, to look the best version of Racquel at 65, right?
Exactly.
Or
you don't want to look 25, and like you said, aging is a privilege. And I think that in many ways, I love getting older because I feel wiser. I feel like I was just talking about this yesterday with Jasmine, one of our amazing injectors.
Love Jasmine.
She's the best. She's having her baby Monday.
Oh my gosh.
And we were just saying how we love this age because we don't sweat the small stuff as much anymore.
That's right.
And we don't let silly things get to us. Like, we've just seen life differently, where it's like there's so many bigger things to worry about, and we just don't care for the drama or, the noise. And I think that's come with age. So in many ways, I love getting older, but I still want to feel good about myself. And
sure.
And so I think there's a balance there.
Yeah. Well, and I think, every wrinkle, every gray hair, it is, mark of a life, life, time passed, lessons learned. And, I know for me, I'm trying to really kind of lean into that instead of push back against it, and to say yeah, those are just signs of my life, but I mean, I think you're right. Everybody has something different that they feel good about, that makes them feel good. Maybe it's their hair, or maybe it's their teeth, or maybe it's their skin or their body or their nails, I mean, I think we all have something, that, kind of dictates how we go out into the world and, how we feel. So,
exactly.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's a lot of fun being a part of that journey for people, and just educating, because there's a lot to take in and a lot to know. And I think people get nervous because it is your face or your inner health or whatever it is, and you have to find people that you trust. And so we try to be that resource for people where they know they're in trusted hands. We're always going to do what's best for them and help guide them.
Yeah. What are some things that we can do at home? We're in the summer months right now. So, when we talk about just kind of the best version of our skin and ourself, what are some of your recommendations for, things that we can do at home to be caring for our skin?
Yeah. In the summer, I think two of my biggest tips are a lot of times people will say, oh, it's summer. Not only am I busy, but I'm going to be in the sun a lot. So I'm just going to do nothing. And I always say, caution with that, because then it just sets you back. And especially if you're someone who's been taking care of your skin all year long or doing things to just stop in the summer, it's a little counterproductive. So it's like, don't do nothing, but just keep up with your good skincare.
Yeah.
Wear sunscreen. When you're going to be out in the sun, shading from the sun is the biggest thing. Just hats, sunglasses. If you're in direct sunlight, like you're swimming at the pool, you want to reapply SPF every 2 hours. And that's going to protect you not only from skin cancer, but from aging. Because aging, sun exposure is the number one contributor to aging, fine lines, wrinkles, sun damage, brown spots. So the more you can prevent, the better. So in the summer, I just tell everyone, if you're busy, at least keep up with your skincare at home. Practice good sun protection, and that's going to, take you a lot farther than you think.
For sure. Absolutely. Oh, I'm always sunscreen. Everybody, we haven't done sunscreen 5 minutes. Time to reapply,
Yes.
So.
Yeah. We have a good tinted, a good non-tinted sunscreen. And we have this really cool powder brush on that I love because you can just kind of keep it in your bag and just keep brushing it on throughout the day.
That's great.
And it goes over makeup or whatever you have on. So that's a good little hack as well.
What about any of your products that you need to be careful with sun exposure, especially that?
With the exfoliating products like a retinol, they can make you a little bit more sun sensitive.
Okay.
But I always tell patients it's not that you have to discontinue those things in the summer, because you have to think there's people that live in Hawaii and Florida and sunny climates year round. It's just that if you're using products like that, you don't want to use a retinol and then go bake your face in the sun, because obviously you're more susceptible to a sunburn at that point. So if you are using a retinol or other exfoliating acids, then you just have to be careful that you are, when you're at the pool, you've got your sunscreen and your hat on, and you're going to be totally fine. And if you do get a little bit of a sunburn or too much sun exposure, then you want to set any kind of exfoliating acid like those products aside and just focus on gentle products, gentle cleansers, moisturizers, and really just hydration for a week or so until your skin barrier is healed, and then slowly resume using those types of products again.
Okay. Got it. All right, Racquel, well, you guys have had a busy year. You have a new beautiful location in Kirkwood. So how can moms connect with you either on your own page or Racquel Aesthetics? How can they get in touch with you?
We would love to help anyone looking to come in and feel their best this summer. We have social media at Racquel Aesthetics and then RFA Skincare. And then we also take complimentary consultations. If you're just looking for skincare, you can even just pop into our Kirkwood location or our Chesterfield location, and we have clinicians always on hand who can guide you with the products and things like that. And if you're looking for an in-office appointment, you can give either office a call, or you can reach out through Instagram or our website and set something up and come in. If you're just like, I don't know where to start, you just come in for a consultation and we can sit down with you and lay those options out. And we never want anyone to feel intimidated, because sometimes the first time it's just intimidating for people. They're like, I don't know where to start. I don't even know what I'm doing. And don't feel bad about that. You just come in and we'll kind of go over options with you. And there's no pressure. Sometimes it's just nice to know what's out there and then to make some good decisions after that.
Yep. Awesome. Well, we're so appreciative of your time today. And thanks for all that you do for moms, families in the area.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such an honor. I appreciate it.
All right, St. Louis moms, that'll do it for today. We'll catch you on our next episode. This episode was brought to you by our partner at Foss Swim School. Thanks for listening to Moms of the Lou. We hope it encouraged you and put a pep in your step and helped you get to know our community a little bit better. Be sure to find us on Instagram, @ST_Louis_mom. You can find us on Facebook, St. Louis Mom. You can find us on our website, www.stlouismom.com. In case nobody else tells you today, you're a great mom and you're doing a great job. Chat with you next time.